There comes a moment, often at the end of a long day or in the quiet space before sleep, when your body is still moving but your strength has already been spent, when your thoughts keep circling even though you no longer have the energy to follow them. And in this moment, love speaks softly to you and says that you do not need to stay awake any longer. You do not need to keep watch. You do not need to hold everything together, because you are allowed to rest now and you are not being left alone. You may have learned over time to remain alert even when you are tired, to keep a part of yourself awake just in case something goes wrong, just in case something needs fixing, just in case you are needed. And this constant vigilance can feel like responsibility, like care, like love, yet it can also quietly drain you. God sees how long you have stayed alert, how often you have been the one watching, worrying, managing, carrying what felt too important to put down, and God does not ask you to do this alone anymore. Rest now, not because everything is finished, not because all your questions are answered, not because life suddenly feels safe, but because you do not need to be the one watching over everything tonight. You may feel uneasy at the idea of resting, as if letting go even for a moment could cause something to fall apart, as if your attention is the only thing keeping things from unraveling, and this fear is understandable when you have learned to survive by staying aware. Yet love does not ask you to rest in order to test you. It invites you to rest because you are already held. God is watching over you in a way that does not require your participation, does not depend on your awareness, does not ask you to stay half awake to make sure everything is okay. You are allowed to let your guard down without consequence, to soften without risk, to sleep without losing control of your life. Resting does not mean you are abandoning your responsibilities. It means you are trusting that you are not the only one responsible for holding everything together. You may notice how difficult it feels to release even small concerns, how your mind keeps returning to unfinished thoughts, unresolved conversations, worries about tomorrow, and God does not demand that you silence these thoughts, only that you stop following them. You do not need to push them away, you do not need to solve them, you do not need to come to peace with them before you rest. You are allowed to let them exist without engaging. God is watching over what you cannot resolve tonight, holding what you do not have the strength to carry, staying present with the parts of your life that feel uncertain. You may have been taught that rest must be earned, that you are allowed to stop only when everything is done, when everyone is safe, when nothing else is required of you. But love does not operate this way. God does not wait for your life to be orderly before offering care, does not require completion before offering rest. Presence remains even when things are unfinished. Rest now is not a command. It is permission to stop striving, to stop preparing, to stop anticipating what might go wrong. You may feel a sense of guilt as you slow down, as if you are neglecting something important, but guilt often arises when you have been responsible for too long without support. God does not see your rest as neglect. God sees it as trust. Trust that you are not alone. Trust that your life is not so fragile that it will collapse without your constant attention. You are allowed to rest even if tomorrow feels unclear, even if problems remain, even if your heart feels heavy. God is watching over your future as gently as your present, and you do not need to stay awake to make that happen. You may notice your body resisting rest, holding tension in familiar places, as if staying tight will keep you safe. And God meets this resistance with patience rather than force. There is no need to relax perfectly, no need to achieve a certain state, no need to feel peaceful before you rest. You can rest with tension, rest with worry, rest with questions, because rest is not about feeling calm, it is about being held. God watches over you in a way that allows you to be human, to be tired, to be unsure, to be unfinished. You may have been the one watching over others, staying strong, staying alert, staying present when others rested. And now love gently tells you that it is your turn to be watched over. You do not need to check one last time. You do not need to prepare for every possibility. You do not need to stay half-conscious in case something happens. Nothing is being neglected by your rest. Nothing is being forgotten. Nothing is being placed at risk. God is not distracted, not inattentive, not distant. Presence is steady and attentive even as you let go. You are allowed to sleep knowing that someone else is holding the watch. Someone who does not tire, does not worry, does not become overwhelmed by what you cannot fix. Rest now does not mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to trust that you do not have to do everything yourself. As you allow yourself to settle, even slightly, you may feel a subtle shift, not a sudden peace, but a small easing, a sense that you can release just a little of what you have been gripping so tightly. This is enough. You do not need to release everything at once. You do not need to trust perfectly. You do not need to feel safe in order to rest. God is watching over you whether you feel it or not, whether you believe it fully or not, whether you can let go completely or only a little. Even now, as you remain here, breathing, existing, allowing this moment to pass without effort, you are not alone in the quiet. You are being watched over with care that does not sleep, does not waver, does not require your attention. Rest now, not because you have done enough, but because you are held, and you do not need to stay awake to be safe. There is a deep weariness that settles in when you have been alert for too long, when your mind has learned to stay awake even while your body longs to rest, when vigilance has become so familiar that letting go feels almost unsafe. You may not even remember when you first learned to stay watchful, when you began scanning for what might go wrong, preparing for what might be needed, holding yourself slightly tense even in moments that should have been restful. This alertness may have protected you once, helped you survive seasons when no one else was watching over you, and God does not dismiss that strength or judge the way you learn to cope. Yet love gently invites you now into a different moment, a moment where you do not have to stay alert tonight, where you are not required to remain half awake to ensure everything stays together. God is watching over you with a steadiness that does not require your participation, a care that does not need your constant attention to remain effective. You may notice how difficult it is to trust this, how your thoughts resist slowing down, how your body stays ready as if rest were a risk, and this resistance is not failure, it is habit. God does not demand that you undo this habit all at once, does not ask you to suddenly feel safe, only invites you to soften just enough to allow rest to begin. You do not need to turn off your thoughts, you do not need to solve your worries, you do not need to reassure yourself that everything will be okay before you rest, because rest is not something you achieve through certainty, it is something you allow through trust. God is holding what you are still thinking about, attending to what you are still concerned about, staying present with the parts of your life that feel unfinished or fragile. You may feel responsible for keeping watch, believing that if you relax something important will be missed, but God does not miss what you release, does not overlook what you put down, does not grow inattentive when you stop monitoring. There is no emergency that requires you to stay awake, no hidden task that will go undone if you rest, no part of your life that will be abandoned because you stop paying attention for a while. You are allowed to let your guard down without consequence, to release the role of protector, planner, and watcher, even if only for this moment. God understands how foreign this may feel, how vulnerable rest can seem when you have relied on alertness for so long. and presence remains patient, not forcing you into stillness, but staying close as you gradually ease out of readiness. You may notice your breathing begin to change when you stop scanning, when you stop anticipating, when you stop holding yourself ready. And this change is not something you need to manage, it happens naturally when pressure lifts. God is not asking you to trust blindly, only to trust enough to rest your awareness, to allow yourself to be cared for without needing to supervise that care. You may still feel tension, still feel concern, still feel the urge to check one more thing, and God does not withdraw because of this, does not require perfect surrender. Care remains even in partial rest. You do not have to prove your trust by how deeply you sleep or how calm you feel. Rest is not a performance. It is permission. God is watching over your loved ones, your responsibilities, your unanswered questions, your future, with a care that does not depend on your wakefulness. You may have been the one who stayed up worrying, the one who thought ahead, the one who noticed what others missed, and now you are allowed to step out of that role without guilt. Nothing will fall apart because you rest, nothing will be lost because you stop being alert. God does not tire, does not become distracted, does not need relief from watching over you. You are allowed to sink into stillness, to let your awareness soften, to allow the day to end without review or analysis. Even if your mind drifts back to worry, even if your body holds tension, you are still resting enough, because rest is not all or nothing. It is a gradual letting go. God remains with you through this gradual release, attentive and calm, holding what you no longer need to hold. You do not need to stay alert tonight to be safe. You do not need to remain vigilant to be loved. You do not need to keep watch to be protected. As you allow yourself to remain here, breathing, existing without effort, you can trust that you are being watched over with care that does not fade, care that does not sleep, care that remains steady whether you are awake or resting. Tonight, you are allowed to be the one who rests, the one who lets go, the one who is held, knowing that you are not alone and you never have to stay alert to deserve safety. There is often a quiet fear beneath your tiredness, a fear that if you stop paying attention, if you rest too deeply, if you let yourself drift even a little, something important will be lost, forgotten, or undone. You may not say this fear out loud, but it lives in the way your mind resists slowing down, in the way your body stays slightly tense even when you lie still, in the way rest feels like a risk rather than a refuge. God sees this fear clearly and speaks to it with gentleness, reminding you that nothing essential is held together by your constant effort. Nothing meaningful depends on your exhaustion. Nothing true will disappear while you rest. You have carried so much for so long that letting go feels unnatural, as if your attention is the only thread keeping everything intact. Yet God has been holding what matters long before you learn to stay alert. You may believe that rest means losing control, and control has felt like safety, but God invites you to see that true safety does not come from holding tighter, it comes from being held. Nothing will be lost while you rest, because what is meant for you is not so fragile that it requires your vigilance every moment. You may worry that opportunities will pass, that problems will grow, that situations will worsen if you stop monitoring them. But God does not stop working when you stop watching. Presence continues quietly, faithfully, attending to what you cannot manage, guiding what you cannot foresee, protecting what you cannot reach. You are allowed to rest without checking on everything one last time, without reviewing every possibility, without preparing for every outcome. God does not need your supervision to care well. You may notice how your mind keeps returning to the same thoughts, the same concerns, as if repetition will somehow prevent loss. but repetition often deepens fatigue without increasing control. God invites you to release this cycle, not by force, but by trust. Trust that nothing essential is slipping away in this moment of rest. Even if things are unresolved, even if answers are missing, even if tomorrow feels uncertain, nothing is being lost tonight. Rest does not erase progress, it preserves you. You may have learned that only constant effort keeps life moving forward, but God teaches you that rest is part of movement, part of how life renews itself. When you rest, you are not stepping out of your life, you are allowing it to continue without strain. God does not pause care while you pause effort. You may fear that resting means giving up, that it signals defeat or weakness. Yet rest is not resignation. It is trust. Trust that you do not have to be strong every moment to be safe. Nothing about your worth diminishes when you rest. Nothing about your future becomes uncertain because you stop striving for a while. God remains attentive to details you no longer have the energy to track, watching over connections, timing, and outcomes with a care that is not rushed or distracted. You may notice that when you allow yourself to rest, even briefly, your body responds before your mind believes it. Muscles soften slightly, breath deepens subtly, and these changes are signs that your system recognizes safety even when your thoughts resist it. God works through this recognition, allowing rest to restore you in ways you cannot think yourself into. You do not need to trust perfectly for this to work. You do not need to believe without doubt. You only need to allow rest to happen as much as you are able. Nothing will be lost while you rest because what truly matters is not dependent on your constant awareness. Love does not require vigilance. Care does not depend on anxiety. Protection does not come from exhaustion. God watches over what you release, holds what you put down, remains present with what feels unfinished. You are allowed to rest knowing that the world will not fall apart, that your life will not unravel, that you will not wake up having missed something essential. Even if challenges remain, even if tomorrow brings questions, rest tonight will not make things worse. It will make you more able to meet what comes. God is not waiting for you to wake up to continue caring. Presence is steady whether you are aware or asleep. You can let go now, not because everything is resolved, but because you are not the only one holding things together. Nothing is being lost as you rest. Something is being restored. There is a tenderness in this moment that does not ask anything of you. A gentleness that does not require your awareness to remain present. A care that continues even as your attention begins to fade. You may have spent much of your life believing that safety depends on your readiness, that peace depends on your awareness, that rest is only possible when everything is settled. Yet love meets you here to tell you something different. You are safe to sleep while love keeps watch. You do not need to remain conscious to be protected. You do not need to stay alert to be cared for. You do not need to hold yourself together through the night. God is watching over you with a steadiness that does not waver, a presence that does not sleep, a care that does not require effort from you to remain intact. You may notice how your body hesitates to fully relax, how a part of you remains slightly awake, listening, waiting, ready, and this part has been loyal to you for a long time. It learned to stay awake because at some point, staying awake felt necessary, felt protective, felt like the only way to survive uncertainty. God does not criticize this part of you, does not try to silence it harshly, but gently reassures it that tonight, it does not have to work so hard. You are not being asked to stop caring, you are being invited to stop guarding. Love is guarding you now. You may still feel the urge to check your thoughts one more time, to replay conversations, to prepare for tomorrow, as if readiness could prevent difficulty. But God holds tomorrow already, not as a fixed outcome, but as a space where presence will continue to meet you. You do not need to visit tomorrow tonight. Nothing will be improved by your exhaustion. Nothing will be protected by your worry. God is not asking you to trust blindly, only to trust enough to let your body rest, to allow sleep to arrive naturally, without pressure or performance. You may notice how your breath begins to slow when you stop monitoring it, how your muscles soften slightly when you stop telling them to relax. And this is how rest often begins, not as a decision, but as a response to safety. God provides this safety without condition, without demand, without expectation. You are safe to sleep even if questions remain, even if fears linger, even if parts of you do not fully believe yet. Love does not require your certainty to remain present. You may have learned to associate sleep with vulnerability, with loss of control, with risk, yet God redefines vulnerability as something held rather than exposed. When you sleep, you are not unprotected, you are not unattended, you are not forgotten. You are watched over with attention that does not fade, with care that does not tire. God does not need you to stay awake to notice danger, does not rely on your vigilance to prevent harm. You can rest knowing that nothing essential is slipping through the cracks while you sleep. Even if your mind drifts in and out, even if you wake briefly and then rest again, love remains constant through each moment. You are not required to sleep deeply or quickly. Rest can arrive in layers, gently, gradually, at your own pace. God does not rush you into stillness, but remains with you as you slowly release what you have been holding. You may feel a subtle relief in knowing that you do not have to be the one watching tonight, that someone else is keeping the light on, keeping the door guarded, keeping the space safe. This relief may feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable, yet it is offered without condition. God is not waiting for you to relax perfectly, only inviting you to stop trying to stay strong. You are allowed to sleep because you are already loved, already held, already watched over. Nothing about your worth depends on your awareness. As your thoughts begin to soften, as your body settles into stillness, you can trust this truth to remain. You are safe to sleep while love keeps watch, and nothing you release will be lost. As this truth settles more deeply, you may begin to feel how different it is to rest without responsibility, to allow yourself to drift without carrying the quiet fear that something must be monitored, something must be held together, something must be prevented. You may realize how rarely you have allowed yourself this kind of rest, the kind that does not keep one eye open, the kind that does not bargain with sleep, the kind that does not ask you to be ready even while you rest. God is with you in this unfamiliar softness, understanding that letting go of watchfulness can feel unsettling when vigilance has been your companion for so long. Love does not rush you past this discomfort, does not insist that you surrender fully all at once, but remains present as you gradually loosen your grip. You are not being tested by this rest. You are not being measured by how quickly you relax. You are simply being held. God watches over your body as it learns to feel safe without tension, watches over your mind as it releases its loops of concern, watches over your heart as it settles into a quieter rhythm. You may notice moments where your thoughts fade and then return, where sleep comes and goes, and none of this interrupts care. Love remains constant whether you are aware or unaware, whether you are drifting or waking, whether rest comes easily or slowly. You do not need to manage this process. You do not need to guide yourself into rest. You do not need to cooperate perfectly for protection to remain. God's watchfulness does not depend on your surrender. It exists independently, faithfully. You may have believed that staying awake was a way of staying connected, that rest meant disengagement, but God shows you that connection does not break when you sleep. Presence stays close, attentive, gentle, surrounding you with care that does not require your participation. Even if worries surface again, even if fear whispers that you should stay alert, you are allowed to hear those thoughts without obeying them, to let them pass like distant sounds while you remain resting. God does not become impatient with these returns, does not withdraw when you struggle to let go. Care adapts, meets you where you are, remains steady. You are safe to sleep even if your trust feels incomplete, even if parts of you remain guarded, even if rest feels fragile. Love does not need your perfection, only your presence, and even that is not required once you drift. As your body grows heavier, as your awareness softens, you can trust that nothing is being neglected, nothing is being forgotten, nothing is being left unattended. God is watching over the spaces you cannot see, the hours you will not remember, the moments when consciousness fades. You are allowed to disappear into rest for a while, knowing that you will be met again when you return. Sleep is not a loss of control. It is a return to trust, a reminder that your life is not sustained by effort alone. God keeps watch through the night with a calm that does not waver, with a care that does not exhaust itself, with a love that does not require acknowledgement. You can let your body surrender to the surface beneath you. Let your breath find its own rhythm. Let your thoughts loosen their hold, knowing that you are not alone in the dark. Nothing is expected of you now. Nothing needs to be accomplished. Nothing needs to be resolved. You are safe to sleep while love keeps watch. And this truth remains whether you remember it or not, whether you believe it fully or only faintly. Even as you drift, even as the night unfolds without your awareness, you are held, you are protected, you are not forgotten. Love stays awake so you do not have to. As the night continues to unfold without asking anything from you, there is an invitation here to release one more layer of effort, one more habit of holding, one more quiet belief that something depends on you staying engaged. You may notice how deeply effort has been woven into your sense of safety, how even rest has sometimes felt like something you had to do correctly, something you had to manage, something you had to stay aware of in order for it to work. God meets you here to gently untangle that belief, reminding you that nothing needs your effort through the night. You are not responsible for maintaining peace while you sleep. You are not required to sustain calm. You are not asked to keep your faith active or your trust strong. Love continues without your participation. Care flows without your involvement. Protection remains without your vigilance. You may feel a subtle urge to check in on yourself, to see whether you are resting well enough, whether your thoughts are quiet enough, whether your body is relaxed enough, and even this urge can be laid down. There is no standard you need to meet tonight, no threshold of rest you must reach. God does not grade your stillness, does not measure your surrender, does not require you to arrive at a certain depth of sleep. You are allowed to be exactly as you are and still be fully held. Nothing needs your effort through the night because the night itself is not a problem to be solved. It is a space meant for restoration, for renewal that happens without conscious direction. You may have learned to associate effort with worth, believing that if you stop trying, something essential about you will fade. Yet God shows you that your worth does not fluctuate with your activity. You are just as valued when you rest as when you strive, just as loved when you sleep as when you stay awake. Through the night, God watches over the parts of you that are tired of trying, the parts that have carried responsibility for too long, the parts that no longer know how to stop on their own. You do not need to instruct your body to heal. You do not need to command your mind to settle. You do not need to force your heart to trust. These processes unfold naturally when effort is removed. God understands that letting go of effort can feel risky, as if stopping will cause you to fall behind or lose ground, but nothing is being lost when you rest. Progress does not disappear in stillness. It integrates. You may notice moments where your thoughts soften without intention, where your body grows heavier without instruction, where your awareness drifts without decision, and these moments are signs that effort is no longer required. God remains with you as this happens, not guiding, not directing, simply holding. Nothing needs your effort through the night means you are allowed to stop managing your healing, stop monitoring your faith, stop checking whether you are doing this right. You can rest without fixing yourself, without improving yourself, without understanding yourself. God does not need you to be better by morning, does not expect transformation overnight, does not require rest to produce immediate results. The night does its work quietly, patiently, often invisibly. You may wake at times, thoughts briefly returning, concerns resurfacing, and even then nothing is required of you. You do not need to use those moments to think, to plan, to pray harder, to reassure yourself. You can simply return to rest, knowing that God has not stopped watching over you because you stirred. Care does not reset when you wake. Protection does not pause when your thoughts return. You are allowed to drift in and out without consequence. Nothing needs your effort through the night because love does not operate on effort. It operates on presence. God's presence remains constant whether you are awake or asleep, whether you are calm or restless, whether you are aware or unaware. You may feel a quiet relief as this truth settles, a sense that you can finally stop trying to rest and simply rest. This relief may be subtle, almost imperceptible, yet it is enough. You do not need dramatic peace. You do not need complete quiet. You do not need perfect stillness. You are already doing enough by allowing yourself to be here. Through the night, God holds your breathing, your heartbeat, your unconscious fears, your unspoken hopes, with a care that does not require your assistance. You can let go of the belief that you must stay engaged to be safe, that you must remain aware to be protected. Nothing needs your effort through the night because you are not alone in the dark. You are not unsupported in rest. You are not forgotten when you stop trying. As the hours pass without your awareness, love remains awake, attentive, steady, carrying what you have put down. You are allowed to rest deeply or lightly, to sleep or simply lie still, to drift or to remain aware, and in every version of this night you are held. Nothing is being asked of you now, nothing is being required, nothing needs to be done. You can release effort knowing that care continues, that protection remains, that love keeps watch until morning comes again. There is a quiet permission being offered to you now, one that goes deeper than rest itself, deeper than letting go of effort, deeper even than sleep. It is the permission to stop holding yourself together. You may not realize how much energy you have spent doing exactly that, keeping your emotions contained, your thoughts organized, your reactions managed, your life appearing functional even when you felt fragile inside. Holding yourself together may have become second nature, something you do automatically without noticing, as if relaxing that grip would cause everything to fall apart. God sees how long you have carried yourself this way, how often you have been your own support, your own anchor, your own stability when no one else could be. Tonight, you are not required to do that. You are allowed to loosen the internal tension that keeps you composed, to stop monitoring your own state, to stop managing how you are feeling moment by moment. God is holding you now in a way that does not require you to stay intact, to stay strong, to stay regulated. You may fear that if you stop holding yourself together, emotions will spill out, thoughts will overwhelm you, or something unmanageable will surface. And this fear is understandable when you have learned to survive by staying contained. Yet love does not ask you to collapse. It simply invites you to rest without bracing. You do not need to fall apart to be held, and you do not need to stay together to be safe. God holds you as you are, whether organized or messy, calm or unsettled, coherent or confused. You are not required to present a stable version of yourself to deserve care. Through the night, God supports what you no longer need to control, steadies what you no longer need to manage, and contains what you no longer need to suppress. You may notice subtle signs of release as this permission settles. A deep breath you did not plan, a softening behind the eyes, a sense of heaviness or warmth, and these signs are not something you need to analyze. They are simply the body responding to safety. You are allowed to stop holding yourself together because you are not alone with yourself anymore. God remains present with every part of you, including the parts you have kept tightly contained. You do not need to check whether you are okay, whether you are stable, whether you are coping well enough. Care does not depend on your self-management. You may feel unfamiliar vulnerability as you loosen control, as if you are stepping into unknown territory. Yet this vulnerability is not exposure, it is supported openness. God does not leave you exposed when you let go. Presence surrounds you gently, creating a space where you can exist without effort. You are not required to process, to heal, to understand, or to integrate anything tonight. Those processes can wait. Through the night, God holds the pieces you have been holding together, allowing you to rest without structure, without narrative, without explanation. You may still feel sensations moving through you, emotions shifting quietly, thoughts drifting in and out, and none of this needs intervention. You are allowed to let things be exactly as they are. God is not overwhelmed by your inner world, does not need you to simplify it, does not require you to be clear. You can rest even if you feel fragmented, even if parts of you feel unresolved, even if you do not feel like a whole, cohesive person right now. Holding yourself together has been a skill, not a requirement, and tonight you can set that skill down. God is holding you together in a way that does not require effort from you, a way that remains steady even as your awareness fades. You do not need to keep watch over your own stability. You do not need to monitor your own reactions. You do not need to ensure that everything inside you stays in place. Nothing will break if you loosen. Nothing will spill beyond care. Nothing will be lost. As the night deepens, you can allow yourself to exist without form, without structure, without self-control, knowing that you are being held in a presence that does not require you to stay intact to be safe. As you continue to rest in this permission, you may sense how unfamiliar it feels to exist without effort, without monitoring yourself, without quietly checking whether you are okay enough to rest. This unfamiliarity does not mean something is wrong. It simply means you are entering a space you have rarely been allowed to inhabit. God remains with you here, steady and unhurried, allowing this space to unfold at its own pace. You may notice that when you stop holding yourself together, there is not a collapse, but a settling, not chaos, but a quiet rearranging, as if parts of you that have been tense for a long time are finally allowed to soften. You do not need to understand what is happening inside you. You do not need to label it. You do not need to direct it. God is not asking you to become someone else tonight, not asking you to heal everything at once, not asking you to be whole by morning. You are allowed to rest as you are, unfinished, imperfect, mid-process. Holding yourself together has often meant staying one step ahead of your feelings, keeping your emotions contained so they do not overwhelm you. Yet God offers a different kind of containment, one that does not require suppression. Presence holds what arises without fear, without judgment, without urgency. You are not too much in this space. Nothing inside you is unmanageable here. You may feel moments where emotions drift close to awareness and then fade again, where memories surface briefly and then recede, and you do not need to follow them. God is already present with those layers. You do not need to escort them anywhere. You are allowed to rest without self-supervision, without emotional control, without inner discipline. Nothing dangerous happens when you stop managing yourself in this way, because you are not alone with what emerges. God holds you with a steadiness that allows even fragile parts to exist safely. You may realize how much energy has gone into staying composed, staying functional, staying presentable, even when you were exhausted, and this realization may bring a quiet grief. God does not rush you past this grief, does not ask you to be grateful instead, simply allows it to be held gently as you rest. You are not required to resolve this grief tonight, not required to make sense of it, not required to transform it. Rest does not demand resolution, it allows space. As the night continues, you may feel yourself drifting in and out of awareness, sometimes present, sometimes absent, and through all of this, God remains constant. You do not disappear when you sleep. You do not become unsupported when your awareness fades. Holding yourself together has been an act of survival, not a requirement for love, and tonight you can release that act without consequence. God does not need you to remain intact to care for you. Presence does not withdraw when you loosen control. You are allowed to be unguarded here, to exist without armor, to let your inner world rest without structure. Nothing is expected of you now, no response, no belief, no effort. You can let your body grow heavy, let your thoughts soften, let your sense of self blur slightly, knowing that you are being held through it all. God is not watching for mistakes, not waiting for you to fail, not measuring how well you rest. Care remains steady regardless of your state. You are not required to hold yourself together because you are being held together by something stronger, gentler, and more patient than your own effort. As the night deepens, you can allow yourself to sink into this holding, trusting that nothing will fall apart when you let go, that nothing essential depends on your vigilance, that you are safe to exist without effort. Even now, as you remain here, you are not alone, you are not unsupported, you are not responsible for keeping yourself together. Love is doing that for you quietly, faithfully, through the night. As everything continues to soften, there is nothing left for you to do, nowhere you need to arrive, no state you must reach before this night is allowed to hold you. You are already here, already resting, already being carried in ways that do not depend on your awareness. God remains with you now, not as a voice asking for response, not as a presence requiring attention, but as a quiet steadiness surrounding you, beneath you, within you, holding you without effort. You do not need to stay connected consciously. You do not need to remember this moment. You do not need to carry these words with you as you drift. Love does not disappear when your mind quiets. It does not withdraw when your thoughts dissolve. It remains constant even as you fade into rest. You may notice how little is being asked of you now, how the space around you feels less demanding, how the urgency that once kept you alert has softened into something quieter, something less insistent. This is not because everything is solved, it is because you are being held. God is watching over the hours you will not witness, the moments you will not remember, the parts of the night where consciousness slips away. Nothing is lost in those hours. Nothing is neglected. Nothing is left unattended. You are safe to let yourself go completely, safe to disappear into sleep without explanation, safe to stop being someone who manages, someone who holds, someone who watches. Love keeps watch so you do not have to. You may feel yourself drifting now, thoughts slowing, images fading, awareness loosening its grip, and this drifting is not something to resist. There is no reason to stay here longer than your body wishes. No need to hold onto wakefulness. God remains present whether you are aware or unaware, awake or asleep, resting lightly or deeply. You do not need to protect yourself from rest. You do not need to guard your vulnerability. You do not need to prepare for what comes next. The next moment will meet you when it arrives, and you will not meet it alone. For now, you can allow yourself to be carried by the night, trusting that nothing essential depends on your effort. Nothing meaningful requires your vigilance. As you rest, your breathing continues without instruction. Your heart continues without command. Your life continues without strain. God remains attentive to every quiet movement, every unseen shift, every gentle release. You are not required to hold on to yourself, to your thoughts, to your identity, to your worries. You can let everything become soft, undefined, weightless. This is not losing yourself, it is being held beyond effort. Even as these words fade from your awareness, even as silence returns, the care that holds you does not fade. Love stays through the night, steady and calm, watching over you with patience that does not run out. You are allowed to sleep deeply, lightly, or not at all, and in every version of this night, you are safe. Nothing more is needed. Nothing more is asked. You are held, watched over, and carried gently all the way through until morning comes again. As the night stretches gently around you, there is no edge to this moment, no point where you are expected to stay present, no requirement to remember where you are or who you are supposed to be. Everything that once asked something of you has softened, and what remains is simply this quiet holding that does not need your attention to continue. You may already feel how awareness becomes lighter here, how thoughts no longer form complete shapes, how effort has slipped away without you needing to push it aside. This is not something you have achieved, it is something you have been allowed. God is not waiting for you to cross a threshold into sleep, not watching to see whether you let go fully enough, not measuring how deeply you rest. Love remains steady regardless of what happens next. You are free to drift, to fade, to return, to disappear again, and through all of it, you remain held. Nothing about this night depends on your participation. Your breathing continues without instruction. Your body adjusts without effort. Your mind loosens without permission. God watches over these quiet processes with care that does not intervene, care that does not hurry, care that simply stays. You do not need to keep a part of yourself awake to ensure safety. You do not need to remain aware to stay connected. Even now, as your sense of time dissolves, you are not lost. You are exactly where you need to be. You may notice that there is no longer a clear boundary between one moment and the next, no urgency pulling you forward, no memory anchoring you back. This soft space is not emptiness, it is fullness without demand. God remains with you in this space, not as a voice, not as a thought, but as a presence that does not require recognition. You do not need to respond, you do not need to agree, you do not need to believe anything new. Love does not require your understanding to continue holding you. If sleep comes, it is welcomed. If wakefulness lingers, it is also welcomed. There is nothing to correct, nothing to improve, nothing to complete. The night does not ask you to move forward, and it does not ask you to go back. You are allowed to remain suspended here, supported without effort. God is watching over the hours that will pass unnoticed, the moments that will not register in memory, the places your awareness will not travel. Nothing is being missed, nothing is being delayed, nothing is falling behind. You are not responsible for keeping track of time, for marking progress, for remembering yourself. Love holds continuity so you do not have to. Even if your mind drifts into silence, even if you cannot follow another word, even if this moment dissolves completely, you remain safe. God's care does not depend on your consciousness. You are held in the same way whether you are thinking, dreaming, or not aware at all. This is the rest that does not need effort, the safety that does not require vigilance, the presence that does not withdraw when you disappear into sleep. You do not need to arrive anywhere else tonight. You are already where you are meant to be. As the night continues without asking you to follow it, there is a deep reassurance settling beneath everything, a reassurance that nothing about you needs to stay present for care to remain. You may no longer be listening in the way you were before. Words may soften into sound, meaning may dissolve into rhythm, and this is exactly where you are allowed to be. God does not need your attention to stay close, does not require your awareness to keep watching, does not step back when you drift. Love remains even when your sense of self grows quiet, even when your thoughts no longer form, even when memory loosens its grip. You are not expected to hold onto this moment, not expected to stay here consciously, not expected to keep yourself oriented. The night does not test you, and neither does love. Everything that matters is being carried for you now. Your body continues its quiet work without instruction. Your breathing moves in its own gentle rhythm. Your heart remains steady without command. God watches over these processes with a care that does not interfere, a care that does not interrupt rest, a care that allows everything to unfold naturally. You may feel as though you are sinking into something deeper than sleep, a space where effort no longer reaches, where intention no longer matters, and this space is safe. You are not disappearing into emptiness. You are being held beyond awareness. Nothing about this holding depends on your belief, your trust, or your understanding. Love does not withdraw when you stop thinking about it, does not fade when you forget it, does not weaken when you no longer feel it. Even if the night feels long, even if time stretches without markers, you are not alone inside it. God remains present in every quiet moment you do not notice, every hour you do not remember, every transition between wakefulness and sleep. You do not need to check whether you are resting correctly. You do not need to wonder if this is working. You do not need to stay alert enough to make sure you are safe. Safety does not depend on your vigilance anymore. You are allowed to rest fully into not knowing, into not tracking, into not holding on to yourself at all. The version of you that stays awake to ensure everything is okay can finally step aside. Love has taken over that role without struggle, without fatigue, without limit. You may sense a deep stillness now, not forced, not created, but simply present, as if the night itself is breathing for you. God does not rush this stillness, does not shape it, does not demand anything from it. It exists because you are allowed to exist without effort. Even if sleep comes and goes, even if awareness flickers briefly and then fades again, you remain surrounded by care that does not reset or diminish. There is no wrong way to rest here, no incorrect state to be in. You are held whether you dream, whether you remain lightly aware, whether you drift into deep sleep, whether you hover somewhere in between. Love does not prefer one state over another. It remains constant through all of them. As the night moves quietly toward morning, you do not need to prepare for what comes next. Tomorrow will arrive in its own time, with its own light, and you will meet it already held. Nothing needs to be carried forward from this night. Nothing needs to be remembered. Nothing needs to be achieved. You are not behind, you are not unprepared, you are not missing anything essential. God watches over the passage of time itself, ensuring that you are not lost within it. You are allowed to let go completely now, to rest beyond thought, beyond identity, beyond effort. Even as words fade, even as silence returns, the presence that holds you does not fade. Love remains through the entire night, steady and gentle, watching over you until morning comes again, and even then you will still be held.